We start this noon in Boulder, where police are in a standoff with a suspect on top of a Firestone tire shop. In the last hour, Boulder police lifted a shelter in place in that area. Police say this all started around 7:30 this morning. They say a suspect driving a stolen car got out and climbed on the roof of the shop. He told police he had a gun. Right now, negotiators are trying to get him to come down.
Negotiators had to go through a variety of training, and they're trying to get a good read on the suspect and trying to figure out what's the best way they can talk him into surrendering safely for everyone involved.
Police say they know who the man is, but right now they're not sharing his name. We'll, of course, continue to follow this story and bring you any updates as they come into the newsroom, on air and online. Troopers are investigating a deadly crash on I-70. It closed part of the interstate for hours. Eastbound lanes just reopened in the last 15 minutes. The crash happened just east of the tunnels in the high country around 8:30. Troopers say a semi and another car crashed. We know that one person died in the crash. Right now, this is a live look at the backup. Certainly still seeing delays in those eastbound lanes in the Silverthorne area. Something to keep in mind if you are getting ready to head up that way. Earlier, they were detouring folks through the Leadville area. Aurora police are trying to find who shot a 13-year-old boy this morning. Police say it happened near East 13th Avenue and Potomac Street. They tweeted about it around 2 o'clock this morning. Someone drove the boy to the hospital and are saying he should be okay. Police say 2 other people were in the car and were not hurt. Anyone with information is asked to call Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. We want to take a live look out over Elitch Gardens right now. That looks like the place you want to be, hitting the pool, being in the water of some sort, because temperatures continue to rise in our area. Another live look for you in the high country, looking beautiful there. Going to be a little bit cooler than down here. Maybe a good place to escape the heat that we're dealing with, unless you love the heat. We bring in meteorologist Greg Perez, breaking it all down. We're in for really a hot week, Greg, in general.
Yeah, yesterday upper 90s. Let's do it again today. And of course, this was followed by a weekend of temperatures in the 90s too. So 90s all around as we get ready for temperatures once again to be very, very hot. We also have a heat advisory in effect for our friends down towards the south and the southeastern plains. Let's take a live look over Denver right now. Mostly cloudy and a little bit of sunshine out there, but still a few peaks of sun from Cheeseman Garden. Temperatures in the upper 80s and lower 90s. But take a trip down the I-25 corridor and look at this. Pueblo already at 103 degrees. It's scorching down there. Even hotter just the south end. East of that, 80s and 90s in the high country, or excuse me, 80s and 90s out towards the plains, 70s and 80s in the high country. So if you're looking for a little bit of cooler air, get up into the mountains. You're certainly going to want to do that. But for Denver, we have a high temperature of 97 degrees with nothing but sunshine on the way. Maybe an isolated shower or two, not out of the question. This is going to be happening, say, between 4 and 5 o'clock. A strong storm not out of the question, just the north and west of Byers and, of course, along the I-70 corridor. But otherwise, we are going to be dry with a few clouds. Temperatures, though, are staying hot, Erica. I'll let you know when Mother Nature is going to be giving us a little bit of a break in my full forecast.
Looking forward to that, Greg. Thank you so much. Right now, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston is speaking at this hour. If you want to watch it live, you can go to our website, 9news.com, or stream it on our 9 News Plus app. He's laying out his plan to address homelessness in the city. Last week, he declared homelessness a state of emergency. He's activated the Emergency Operations Center as part of his effort to house 1,000 people experiencing homelessness by the end of 2023. Mayor Johnston will speak at the Denver Mayor's office alongside Cole Chandler, Senior Advisor on Homelessness Resolution, and Matt Muller, Executive Director for Denver's Office of Emergency Management, to give that update. Coming up this afternoon on 9 News at 4 o'clock, we'll of course hear more from the mayor and his staff about the next steps in his fight against homelessness and how Denver's suburbs are handling a steep increase. A teen who started a deadly fire at an apartment building last year has pleaded guilty. Prosecutors say the teen, who is now 15, and his younger brother were staying at the complex, but started the fire after someone kicked them out. Kathleen Payton and her 10-year-old daughter Jazzy died in that fire. The fire hurt 10 others and damaged 14 apartments. Yesterday, the older brother pleaded guilty to 2 murder charges, plus attempted murder and arson. The younger brother's case is still ongoing. Doctors are evaluating him to see if he is competent to stand trial. And we do have video of the Colorado State Trooper jumping for his life when two suspected drunk drivers crashed into patrol cars over the weekend. This crash happened early Saturday morning on I-270. You can see the moment the car slammed into the patrol car. Then Trooper Keith Bagley had to jump out of the way. He fell 30 feet off of the bridge. Fortunately, he did land on soft ground. He was hurt but still able to walk away. CSP tells us they're stepping up patrols for drunk drivers after this weekend.
This is something that is really, really challenging for me to understand, because it is such an obvious choice to just be responsible, realize that it's somebody else's life, their well-being, that is at risk when you make this selfish decision to drive drunk.
CSP tells us last year 8 drivers hit their patrol cars. So far this year, that number already at 12. A quarter of those crashes involved impaired drivers. NBA star LeBron James' son Bronny is in the hospital after suffering cardiac arrest during basketball practice. A spokesperson for the family says the 18-year-old is out of the ICU and in fair condition. Monday, Bronny's heart stopped beating at the University of Southern California. He's an incoming freshman for the school's basketball team. Bronny was one of the top high school basketball players before graduating this spring. Coming up on 9 News at 4:30, our medical expert Dr. Pio Coley will sit down with Tom and Kim to discuss what happened with James's son. A small motorcade carrying Florida governor and Republican presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis was involved in a car crash this morning in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Campaign staff says the governor was not hurt. Chattanooga police say the 4-car motorcade was approaching slowing traffic. The lead SUV had to brake quickly, which caused a rear-end collision. DeSantis and his team were traveling to a fundraiser in Chattanooga. Police say a female staffer suffered a minor injury, but chose to travel on to that scheduled event. North Glen City Council voted to formally reprimand 2 of their own members for walking out of a proclamation for Pride Month. This all started in June when council member Tim Long said he didn't want to spend money on what he called special interest groups. Last night, he and Nicholas Walker defended themselves, saying they won't be silenced or bullied. Long said he could not be hateful because he has a black goddaughter and gay friends. Several members of the city's own diversity board called their comments hurtful and offensive and urged council to vote to censure them.
The message that we sent is that you are welcome here. You are safe here. We're making these gentlemen accountable for their actions, accountable for their words, and we stand beside you.
I would like to say that I won't be bullied, intimidated, and whether it's from a virtue signaling email from the city staff or a hateful and vulgar message I received from a sitting dice board member.
Long said he was bullied by First Amendment non-believers. The mayor said it's not about beliefs, but behavior. The final vote was 7-0 in favor of that censure. We do have some good news for UPS and their drivers. The company and the Teamsters reached a tentative contract agreement. This avoids a strike that could have been less than a week away. Today, the two groups were back at the negotiating table, talking over a few remaining sticking points. Both sides already reached a tentative agreement on a host of issues, but they were still at odds with things like pay for part-time workers, who make up more than half of the UPS employees represented by the union. The Teamsters called the tentative agreement historic and overwhelmingly lucrative in a prepared statement. It includes, among other benefits, higher wages and air conditioning in delivery trucks.